Well, everybody, I'm Blockchain Crusader, crusading through these blockchains every single day, and we're back for a live stream today, January 5th, 12:31 p.m. Eastern Time. Here we go, guys. There's a lot of things happening, right? The market is finally reacting what happened over the weekend. And guess what? Everybody was panicking and dooming that we're going to have a major pullback, a major crash on Monday. But guess what, guys? I told you guys not to worry. I told you guys a minor little pullback might happen, but then most likely we'll continue going up. And guess what? We have seen exactly that, right? Bitcoin has come down, retested, came all the way down to the London low of 92,000, broke out above the Asia high, and is on its way up to the previous month high of $94,562 right now for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is in a very nice steep uptrend, as you guys can see here. Let me actually move this a little bit for you guys. Here you go. Bam. Perfect. So Bitcoin is in a very strong uptrend right now, right, from the previous week. Meanwhile, we stay at these levels. Meanwhile, we don't start losing this previous week anchored VWAP around 92,500, right? I don't expect Bitcoin to start coming down anytime soon. Now, there could be some situations where we come up to this previous month high of 94,600 and we reject from this area. We could be coming down lower. We do have weekly targets between 89,900 to 89,800. So very small, tight consolidation of weekly targets here for Bitcoin, including a weekly MPOC, weekly averages. But like I said, those targets are not a guarantee that they have to hit, right? So meanwhile, we stay above these levels here. We're still looking good for Bitcoin to continue pushing up higher. Now, Bitcoin is making a strong retest here of the Asia high, the value area low of a big time frame. I believe it's the yearly, but I could be wrong. So this 94,600 is all eyes on that. We get above 94,600 and we're looking for this big target zone here between 96,000 to 98. This is going to be the make it break it for Bitcoin. If we get rejected from this zone, we are looking for $80,000 and lower. $80,000 and lower. But if we can break through this 98,000, I think there's a very good chance of a bigger push towards $111,000. $111,000 for Bitcoin. Appreciate everybody on TikTok joining in. Make sure you guys are tapping those likes, filling up those like meters wherever you're at. So I greatly appreciate it. Everybody on YouTube, smash those likes, hit that subscribe. If you're watching on X, do so, share it out with everybody. Now let's jump on over to silver. Silver over here, trying to break out above the previous week EQ. Got rejected at $77. It started falling back. We did have a local gold pocket here of 79. I was expecting a push up here at least before seeing a rejection, but seeing some short-term weakness here for silver, pulling back below the previous week EQ doesn't mean that it can't run for 79 to about $83, even up as high as 88. Definitely still can, but right now, we're still fighting this local high over here of 78 from December 30th. We have been in a lower high structure. So trying to break out of it, trying to get above $78 will break out of this structure. We are currently breaking out of the downtrend that we're in. As you guys can see here, we broke out to around 76, came back, retested the previous day high of 74 and blasted off. So still looking good for continuation to the upside for silver. Let me go back over here to the Bitcoin chart. Just keep it up here so we can take a look at it. And let's jump into the chat and say what's up. Can you check flow, please? Oh, flow, like the actual altcoin flow. I was so confused about what the heck you were talking about for a second there. Appreciate all of you guys in here smashing those likes. What's going on, everybody? Good to see you. Good to see you. Let's see. Make sure I'm not missing anybody. Where is... Okay. Yeah, everything's looking good. Making sure I'm not missing anybody in the chat. All right. Appreciate everybody tapping those likes, guys. Tap those likes. Share out the live stream. Bitcoin having a very strong reaction here off of this retest and pushing back up here for Bitcoin. Very, very strong retest before pushing up towards this previous month high. First off, let's jump into some news articles here, guys. Obviously, we're talking about Bitcoin surpasses 94,000. What are the latest data? What should we expect next? I already kind of told you what to expect next, right? Analysts are looking at here how Bitcoin has risen, yada, yada. Obviously, gold, silver stocks are rising. I told you guys this last 2025 as we were closing out. It's like if you expect 2026 for silver and gold and stock market to continue pushing higher but not see a Bitcoin rally, you must be out of your mind. So this article here not really telling us anything that we don't already know after looking at the Bitcoin chart here. But everybody, wants to make a big deal about it. Ava price jumps. Aave, not Ava. Aave's price jumps amid revenue sharing plans with token holders. This is great for more DeFi protocols. You guys don't already know, Aave is a huge DeFi protocol party, one of the largest, if not the largest, DeFi protocol on Ethereum. And apparently their new Aave proposal will cover, according to the Aave Labs founder, the upcoming proposal will explain how revenue made outside of the core lending protocol could be shared with Aave holders. This revenue usually comes from the official Aave app, front-end swapping integrations, and future consumer or institutional products built on top of Aave. It will also include safeguards to protect the Aave DAO and prevent sudden changes that could harm token holders. That's amazing. The fact that these DeFi protocols are talking about revenue sharing is massive, right? This is something that banks do not do. Banks are supposed to be sharing their revenues with you off the interest that they're making from your money, right? Because when you lend the money to a bank, when you don't lend, when you deposit your money to a bank, they're using your money to go play with it in the stock market, in investments, in other loans, yada yada yada. They're lending out your money and they're making money off the interest on your money, and they're supposed to be giving you an interest, right, on your savings account. But we all know that interest is fugazi. They're making 4, 5, 6, 7% or higher on your money, and you're getting pennies on the dollar, right? Like a ridiculously low percentage, if anything. Now we're getting, last year we started to see high yield savings account, 4.5%, 5%, right? American Express and a few others out there. But up until then, we have not been looking at these high yield savings accounts at all. Everything's been extremely no interest, right? No interest being paid to you at all. Yet now DeFi protocols, the competitor, the antithesis to the banking system, decentralized finance, is saying, hey, hold our token, use our DeFi protocols, and we will share revenue with you, which is fantastic and it's great. Banks need to step up. If not, banks will be replaced. Another thing to be talking about here is Grayscale's Ethereum staking rewards have hit a transformative milestone for U.S. crypto investors. Let's see what this transformative new ground is. The announcement represents a significant evolution in its product strategy. Previously, Grayscale Trust operated as a passive holding vehicle. The trust simply acquired and held ETH on behalf of investors. However, following Ethereum's transition to proof of stake consensus back in 2022, those held assets gained inherently the ability to earn yield through staking. We all know this. We all know that this should have been a thing from the get-go. So let's see where they're going with this. For years, this potential revenue stream remained untapped for the Grayscale ETH holders. Now, Grayscale has implemented the necessary infrastructure to participate in Ethereum staking and will distribute accrued rewards. This development directly addresses long-standing investor demand for yield within spot crypto ETP structures. This is exactly what we've been talking about. Why, since they approved the the Ethereum ETFs, got a tongue twister, the Ethereum ETFs back in 2024, have we not had Ethereum staking? Now we're in 2026. Now we're starting to talk about the Ethereum staking. Now we are having a reason, right? These investors have a reason for continuation to the upside of holding ETH, right? Why would ETH continue to go up from the Ethereum holders? Because before, Ethereum versus Bitcoin ETF made no sense. Why hold the Ethereum ETF when the Bitcoin ETF, Bitcoin itself, is doing way better? Neither one of them are producing any yield. But now the Ethereum ETF says, hey, yeah, we might not be outperforming Bitcoin right now, but if you hold the Ethereum ETF, you're going to be getting a yield, a reward for holding long term, meaning that there is more incentive now to go buy more Ethereum ETFs than there is Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is still going to be the main front picture, the main front runner of accumulation for the traditional finance. But for the investors that want to get a yield rather holding, right? Because rather holding Bitcoin, they're not getting a yield, they're just getting gains. But you can get a yield with Ethereum now with the ETFs, which will allow holders to be holding on longer and not be selling Ethereum ETF and outflowing from the ETF so drastically, meaning that the Ethereum price will most likely have a steadier climb to the upside than these massive drops to the downside. At the end of the day, it all depends on Bitcoin's price, but this is very, very good for Ethereum's price overall. Talking about Ethereum's price, let's go take a look at ETH's price right now as we're talking about this Ethereum ETF. Let's where's my chart at? Right over here. So ETH right now, let it load in. ETH right now just came back and retested the previous week and previous day high at 3166 and is having a nice little bounce to the upside. Our main target, our next main target to the upside. Meanwhile, we stay above 3165 for Ethereum. Our next target to the upside. Oops. Let me bring this here. Our next target to the upside for Ethereum is 3435 to 3448. It is the previous month high. It is the Q4 average. It is a 6-month average. Those are the targets to the upside. Meanwhile, Ethereum can stay above 3166. We are looking for 3435 for Ethereum here in the following week. Now, if we start falling below 3166, we are going to be looking for targets between 31 to 3071. And below that, we're looking at targets as low as 2979, which is the weekly target to the downside. But meanwhile, we stay here. I do expect Ethereum to push up towards 3435. Meanwhile, Bitcoin continues to push up higher, especially if we get above this previous month high of 94,600 and pushes towards 96 to 98. I will be looking for Ethereum to also run to that $3,400 area for ETH. Appreciate everybody in here smashing those likes, hitting that subscribe. Let's see here. Let's continue on here with the news. Zcash retrace. Zcash retraces as whale unshields 1% of supply. Oh, what a surprise. Whales holding a ton of it and then they're dumping it, right? So Zcash holders have started unshielding coins. The Zcash vaults are emptying out, potentially signaling an exit from privacy assets. Everybody thinking that this thing was going to be the next top dog, going to replace Bitcoin, yada, yada. Surprise, surprise. Here we go. Right, Zcash whales unshield over 1% of supply in early January. A previous shielded holder removed over 200K Zcash, not $200,000, but 200,000 coins, valued at over 100 million from the highest security vault of Zcash. The whale's holdings are still sitting idle and are now more traceable. The whale used a brand new wallet with no other on-chain transactions or history. The whale previously shielded one Zcash as a test. The withdrawals from high privacy Concord pool also followed a diminished supply of the Sprout and Sapling pools. Overall, the rush to shield more Zcash and use it as a DeFi asset has diminished. The whale's Zcash can now be traded or used as non-privacy asset or shielded again if needed. The whale's move also created concerns for potential selling pressure. So let's go take a look at the Zcash chart. I actually have the chart right over here. Zcash. Zcash came up and hit the previous month high, or actually made the previous month high on December 25th. We're currently in a decline. We got semi-rejected, slightly rejected here off the previous day high of $517. We are currently sitting at 488. If we lose 480, we are looking for 451 down to 431 for Zcash. So if Zcash starts to drop and close dailies or weeklies below 480, be looking for 451 down to 428 for Zcash. Just so that you know. Just so that you know. Let's pull back the Bitcoin chart here. Thoughts on BMNR? Don't know what that is. Appreciate everybody here in the chat, smashing those likes, hitting that subscribe. Make sure you guys are filling up those like meters. Morning Crusader, what do you think Midnight will do in the short term? So Midnight, let's go take a look at Midnight here. Where is Midnight? It was here in the top 100. It's hard to tell. You know, this thing hasn't had a lot of price action yet to do technical analysis on it. It's down 12.9% on the week, especially kind of weird, especially since everything else has been kind of up on the week. If you guys look here on the weekly, everything is pretty much pumping. Midnight is for whatever reason dropping. You know, it's not a huge surprise. Midnight did do huge airdrops. People will take profits on the way up. So that's the biggest problem with these airdrop tokens, is that they're going to be choppy for a while until things stabilize, because as it pumps, people got this massive amount of Midnight tokens for free, essentially. And as the price pumps 12, 30, 40%, people will always take profit and dump it. So until a big shift in circulation of supply of circulation, you know, dwindles out and evens out among holders, we're going to continue seeing this choppiness, right? Every time it gets to like 10 cents and above, we see a crash and a pullback for Midnight. Now, technical wise, right? Fundamentally wise, with the technology behind Midnight, hopefully Midnight can deliver on what all the promises that Charles Hoskin is doing. And if it does, right, adding privacy, adding a lot more fundamental technology and necessity for the Cardano blockchain, hopefully it can revive Cardano's blockchain, the demand for Cardano, and push Cardano further along. So pretty cool so far. It's the largest ETH holders at 3%. It's a stock that essentially mirrors ETH. Okay, very interesting. BMNR. Essentially the largest ETH holder at 3%. Okay, I'll keep a look at that. I'll do some research on that and get back to you. Appreciate all of you guys smashing those likes, hitting that subscribe. Here, as you guys can see here on the week, everything is up. Virtual's up 61%, monthly up 29%, Bonk 52% on the week, Pepe 67, Render 62, Fetch 35. Oh my gosh, is it altcoin season already? Are we back for an altcoin season? Guys, we need to be very careful here. Yes, Bitcoin can continue pushing up higher, and yes, Bitcoin will probably continue pushing back up higher towards this 94 to between 94 to 96,000 here in the short term, and then 96 to 98,000 in potentially later this month or later in this quarter. Do not get overexcited because Bitcoin is pumping and your alts are following up. The Bitcoin dominance still remains high. Bitcoin dominance is still above 59%. It's currently still sitting at 59.44. Now, if we see this slipping a little bit lower as Bitcoin's price continues to climb, we will see altcoins continue to rally, as well as every time Bitcoin pumps, it pulls the altcoins up with it anyways. So I know people are getting super excited about seeing altcoins rally, and they're like, oh yeah, man, I'm FOMOing. I should have bought. I'm going to buy more. There is still a big chance that Bitcoin gets rejected here at this $98,000 price point and nukes back down, right, towards 80,000 and lower. So be very aware of that. And if you're buying altcoins now and you think that because Bitcoin is going to pump to 98,000, your altcoins are going to keep rallying, which it is true in the short term, you must be ready to aggressively take profits. If you bought altcoins and now you're up 60, 50% on your altcoins, be aggressive on taking profits, because if you are not and Bitcoin does reject off that 98,000, Bitcoin will pull back your altcoins another 80% and dump it on your head. I trade futures day to day. Good to know, Sabrina. So do I. Good to know. So do I. Appreciate everybody in here tapping those likes, hitting that subscribe. Let's go back over here to Bitcoin. Bitcoin making a nice little push. Came back for the retest of the Asia high. Came back for the retest. Got it. And on the 30-minute is now bouncing back up towards $94,000, heading towards this previous month high of $94,562. Appreciate every single one of you guys in here hanging out, guys. This is going to be a short stream today. I will see you guys later today on a second stream if anything happens. But appreciate every single one of you guys out here. Until next time, guys, I'm Blockchain Crusader, crusading these blockchains. See ya.